Agriculture, grass, crops, Monsanto.
John Deere,
IBM.
yes. Trimble, which I looked that company up. That's actually a really cool company.
What do they do?
A lot of IoT devicing, data science, stuff like that. It seems that their stock's doing well. Monsanto. It's a lot of. Is that a Spanish? That sounds like a Spanish name.
Monsanto?
Yeah,
They're a Canadian company.
Are they Canadian?
Hey.
So
we own rights to all farmers' crops. Hey. We like making pesticides. Hey.
Yeah, this is the same. We just did an episode on WhatsApp, and this is kind of, we see, I want people to understand, Alex, and I'll have you speak to this. There's a theme that's happening with all these companies and data.
It's a theme. Yes.
And I don't think it's necessarily nefarious.
No.
I think it's more this whole idea that, and this is my problem with capitalism.
Yeah.
I'm a capitalist.
How much can we bend the rules to get the upper hand?
Well, there's so much pressure with shareholders and these boards put so much pressure. Who in their right mind would say, think about this, Alex, who in their right mind would say, for you to be successful, every call that you hop on that magic, red phone and you talk to us, we have to see perpetual, eternal profit.
I want eternal 20% growth.
Not, hey, we're going to restructure and for a year we're going to suck.
Yeah.
But the outcome is going to be this, this, and this. It's the wave, it's the ebb and flow, it's cause and effect. It's all, you can't have a continual wave of just constantly making money.
Why can't people just be pleased with a positive outcome? Why is it always more? And all it is more. I want more data. I want more profit. Can I bend the rules to get more? Can I toe that line?
Yeah, what's the line? And then legally, what's the line?
Yeah, legally, what's the line? And then how can I get my really expensive lawyers to say, let's shift the line a little bit more in your direction?
Yes.
We
came up with this amazing idea, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, I got a great idea. My other senior partner came in here. We've been talking about this for the past 3 hours. By the way, we're going to bill you $50,000 for it.
Yeah, and this is a gray area, but we know you can get a 12% profit increase.
Yeah, 12% profit, and we know that we can back you up in court on this if you get any sort of subpoena or whatever it might be.
Yes, and we talked about this before, especially with John Deere. And I love tractors. I love tractors.
Yep.
I just think there's something cool about farm equipment. But this whole idea of paying $1 million for a piece of equipment and then turning around and it just this data creating machine
and you're giving it all away.
You're giving it all away to John Deere. It just seems so wrong to me, bro.
I'm trying to recoup my cost here. Why has John Deere got a double dip?
Yeah, dude, give the incentive back to the farmer. We're for the farmers.
This is COVID times. You shouldn't be double dipping.
So there's this agriculture analytics market report. And so I wanted to kind of look into because now, we have to look into say, well, how did you come up with this? Where did the report come from? What data did you use? The report comprises, thank you, the summarized data. Yeah, my brain sometimes is dyslexic. Words just jumbled together. I had a big problem. So how I forced this is a side note real quick. So I couldn't read hardly. I read all the time now, but when I was young,
I was going to I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I am not the smartest, and you know this as well as I do.
Oh man,
it takes a lot for me to kind of figure, but weird things I can figure out, and I'm really good at.
You're super creative, so I'm cool.
Yeah. The report comprises the summarized data of the current scenario. Oh, so far I'm liking this. Okay, you summarize the current scenario, good, as well as predictions about the upcoming trends. Okay, you use the P word.
Predict.
So when you start predicting, now I want to know, how are you predicting?
How are you predicting? Where did the information come from? What is the supportive thing for your data research team that's telling you how to predict properly? Which model did you choose?
Mm-hmm.
What information is supporting this model? These are very interesting things that are going on. And when you give me a summary, summaries are all well and good, but if you really want to know something, I need to know all of it. Because summaries are always biased.
Yes.
A lot of people go on PubMed. I don't know. I do. And I'm always reading research papers because I want to see what's about it. What's up about it.
Yeah, what's about it.
And, it has the abstract, but that is just the smallest piece of the whole paper because any person doing the research wants to look good. Nobody wants to publish paper. Well, that sucked. We were completely wrong. And then when you read into it, you see how wrong they actually were.
Yes.
But they made it sound great in the abstract.
Yes, exactly. And I was thinking this last night. I was reading on Twitter some things, and I was thinking about marine. Not just most of the world is most of our planet's full of water.
Talking about marine ecology.
Yes, and we begin to look at farming in the water. We don't think of it that way.
How many times have I talked about algae?
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent for algae.
Yes.
I have a high intake of algae.
Yes, yeah. It makes you alkaline, and we look like this little yesterday, dude.
It's so good.
It was so funny. I'm walking into my kitchen. Alex is in there, and I have this little like vitamin maker. It makes pills, so there's like little capsule gels, and and he's got like all this green powder, this green algae everywhere.
I got green algae everywhere. I got brown kelp everywhere.
And what I found out, because I made some last night, because you had left the mess there,
Yeah.
So
I'm a mess leaver. I leave messes.
So I'm worse than you. But the algae, once you get it on your fingers, it's hard to pick up the little caps.
No, it becomes slippery. It's so fine. The cellular structure of the algae is so fine that it actually gets in between your fingerprint.
Yeah, it's really,
and then
really
it
cool.
creates this totally slippery surface.
Yeah, totally slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like little ball bearings. So I had to like actually wash my fingers, and then I had a little bit of wet moisture, so they were just picking right up and putting them on there. But
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I know we're way off. Smart farming.
What were you getting into with the marine ecology? And
No,
stuff,
yes, let's go into that. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at it and I'm like, people are going to eat fish. I mean, that's just seafood. People love seafood. They're going to eat lobsters. They're going to eat fish. There's no way around that. I know you're vegan. Alex is vegan, everyone, but he's not a dogmatic, religious vegan.
Yeah.
But people are going to eat fish, and there's farming and there's money to be made in it.
Mm-hmm.
How, and I pictured like this, if we just had one small lake. This is what I was picturing last night. So all we had was just one large body of just one huge lake.
So New Mexico.
Yeah. So let's say where we're at, and then we have lake. What's the lake down 3 hours from us?
Elephant Butte.
Yeah, Elephant Butte. That's all you got, and we have the rest of the world just full of land. I was like, how would we look at it when we had a resource and we knew it wasn't, where we felt like it wasn't abundant? Because
when we look at the world, we think it's just unlimited.
Yes, because there's so much water. I mean, you have the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the North Atlantic Ocean. You have all these different types of, and I'm looking at a map, guys. I didn't just come up with that. Yeah. I actually was reading off the map.
You're so learned.
I don't know. But when you think about it, and then we go out and we go to the ocean, we go on a cruise or something like that, and we say, man, as far as the eye could see, there's so much water, and there's just trillions of fish in the water. And then it's this resource that we think is finite, but it's not.
No, we think it's unlimited, but it is finite.
Yeah, it is finite.
Yeah,
yes.
That's your dyslexia coming in.
Yeah.
I'll give it
Infinite.
to you. Yeah, it's infinite.
Yeah, it's infinite.
And that's that thing. It's just that take mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's that theme that we continue to see. And even when you're selling someone a product, how can I continue to take more from them? And so this advanced agriculture that we're seeing and how it's coming into this report, well, how are you taking?
Mm-hmm.
What was the occurrence of that taking that is now supporting the summary, this thesis that you had, and you're backing it up with this data?
Yeah, because when you look at science and technology and you're looking at the adoption of these new technologies, number one that they're really heading into is machine learning with big data. Mm-hmm. Of course, being able to take 20 years of data on this certain specific crop and find out, yields and all that. And then IoT devices especially on the equipment. Mm-hmm. And then you have all these analytic tools that they're using in the field, actually in the field with drones collecting data. And then you have they're looking at it and saying, efficiency, profit.
Yeah.
From reading about these modern agricultural techniques, I'm really excited about it because efficiency is going to help, because we're growing as a population and we've got a lot of mouths to feed, and starvation is huge. 1 in 9 people are dying of starvation a day. Mm-hmm. So, and think about that, guys. I mean, that's crazy. Think about that
food scarcity. That's nuts. And think about how much we just consume.
Yes, exactly. But what I wanted to get into is on the report, and I wanted to kind of hit these different topics. So they break it down as agriculture analytics market segmentation, but they use a word that we love, and that's global.
Okay.
So when we look at the farming industry, we're always picturing Missouri.
No.
And that old farmer, with some big tobacco in his mouth. And
it's all macro trends.
We're not seeing the rainforest is getting cut down in South America.
Think about how much you import.
Yeah,
I was so bummed out. I got to tell you, I
Yes.
love this popcorn. I like popcorn.
Yes.
Okay. And
I have some in there, organic.
It was the Orville Redenbacher Naturals, non-GMO popcorn. But then I find out it's got just covered in palm oil. I was like, do you
Oh,
know?
we need to look at mine.
Do you know the abuse that the Indonesian rainforest takes just to harvest palm oil?
Yeah.
It would astonish you.
Yeah, no more palm oil.
And so I was like, now I can't even buy my favorite thing because you want to know why?
I guarantee you Whole Foods has a
it was the conception that it was cheap.
Right.
And we can produce more. But at what cost?
Yes.
And when we look at the global view, I'm essentially, I know I get my corn here in the U.S., but I've imported the palm oil all the way over from Indonesia. So when you look at these global trends, it's important to understand the systemic nature of how all these different farmers and everything across the globe comes down to just one single product.
Yeah, and the sad part about this report was the market segmentation by type. And so they had two types, solution and services.
Okay.
Which sound good, but when you look at the solution and services, there was no solution to help out aquaculture. There was no solution.
Was there a solution for dairy?
Yeah, exactly. Livestock analytics. Because they had three. They had farm analytics,
Yeah.
livestock analytics, and aquaculture analytics.
Yeah.
Which, those were the by application, market segmentation by application. And I begin to go into the report a little bit because it's huge. It's a big PDF. And I begin to look at it and it's like, where's the giving? The whole report, like you had said, was take.
Yeah.
But it's like, where is the giving on it?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just that we have this strange theme with humanity currently, and it's just taking and taking and taking. And what's kind of a bummer, not to bring it down, but the people who control resources just want to keep taking more, like real resource controllers. There's a lot of good businesses out there, people trying to do a lot of great things, but the people that have a lot of clout on on world economics, big resource takers. Heavy consumption.
Yeah, like chapter 4 was global production revenue value by region.
Okay, I'm glad you've produced all this and the data's showing production's up, but is it actually driving down starvation across the globe?
Yes.
Is it driving down food scarcity?
Well, but I mean, if you're John Deere, if you're Monsanto, if you're IBM, Oracle's involved in this, Trimble, all of these.
Well, they need their computers to analyze these data.
What is take a percentage of your big data. Our partner with us with TARTLE because we'll help you with this, and let's find the impact globally.
Yeah.
On what these companies are doing per region. That's
a great bridge. I'm glad you guys are doing all this stuff for take. Come to us and start to strike a balance with the world.
Yes.
If you are globally analyzing 50% of the picture,
right.
Come on over here and let's talk about the other 50%.
Take $2 million and let's figure out how we can help John Deere.
Yep.
Or any of these. IBM, take $20 million. That's nothing to you. That's pocket change.
$20 million is not going into our pockets. $20 million goes to the people that create the data.
Yes, exactly. And let's talk to those Indonesian farmers.
Yeah. Let's understand really what's happening. Let's understand the impacts of your huge operations.
Yes. Because
outside of the data that you're only collecting.
Right.
It's like, when we talked about with hospitals, they're just designing their own net promoter score because they really aren't in touch with the people that are in or out or don't come in. It's the same function.
Yeah. And when we look at analytics and we look at this big data and we look at these reports, and we had talked about this before, but that Indonesian farmer, I guarantee you being on the field for 30 years, he has insight. That's a win-win for you.
Yeah.
For you and your profit and your production value and all of that and your crop yield. I guarantee if you can speak to him directly, you're going to get some answers that you need.
When I'm glad you brought this up. When I used to be in consulting, and I did, large projects with, especially ones with like union workers, there was such a poor job from these companies of actually transitioning 30 years of knowledge to the next person that was going to take that guy's place when he retires. There's a natural cycle. And so if you want to assimilate the knowledge of that individual without having to go there and make that conversation with them, you can do that through TARTLE. You can learn so much about techniques and specifics. I'm talking so specific, you can know about this gentleman's 1 acre plot in this microclimate here in Indonesia.
Right.
That's incredible. And then if you put that into a large computational system that IBM or Oracle has, you can then compute all these microclimates and these micro farming operations to see, wait a minute, they're doing something quite effective. Maybe we can scale this up on a major level that could be beneficial in the macro.
Why is this guy for the last 10 years, yields have been huge?
And
what is he doing?
Yeah, is there something, oh, wait a minute, there's millions of him that are outliers.
Yes.
What is it about their farming model that is so significant?
Right.
And now we can learn. Now we have a proper transition of knowledge. Now we can all learn and evolve from one another's experiences.
Yes, exactly.
Where has this been in humanity for so long? You know?
Yeah, instead of just taking all of this big data and then making the P word predictions. And then basing, because they're basing up to 2027 off of this.
Jason, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, I mean, COVID showed us that, prime example.
Yeah, why are we still putting out these summary prediction reports? Probably because people pay a lot of money for them, so that they can go back and then put it in the financial markets and then do some sort of future value of their present value of earnings or whatever it might be. But why are we still predicting things 7 years in the future?
Yeah,
Nobody knows how this cloud I'm looking outside the window is going to change in the next 30 seconds.
No, we don't.
It's a cloud. It's moisture. It's such a basic thing. But then you talk about, global impacts of farming and predicting it across 8 billion people, and everybody has their own different system and way of doing things, and you're going to say this is what the future looks like? What a crock.
But when you begin to look at data, especially in the agricultural side of things, and this resistance from, probably these farmers, it's like, how do you bridge that? Well, there's a way.
Yeah.
It's called incentivize them.
You got to incentivize them properly. Appreciate the knowledge and the value they're creating as a small farmer, even though you might be a huge one, and realize that there's always something to be learned.
But the amount of money you're spending on these predictive models,
stop predicting.
And you could take a fraction of that and get the right answer by speaking directly to that farmer.
How would we say this? Stop predicting, start knowing.
And when you have a guy that shows up from the United States or Canada or somewhere else, and he's wearing a suit and tie and he has a clipboard and he comes and sits the farmer down, that farmer is not going to be honest with him.
No, he's not.
Because he knows his livelihood is dependent upon the answers that he asks.
And you're not meeting him really at his level.
No, and not at his level.
Whatever that level might be.
But if you're anonymous, and you take a group of subset Indonesian farmers, and they know that it's anonymous.
We've met everybody at the same level.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes.
And now you're going to start to really pull out the truth, and you can get into the weeds.
Yeah, no pun intended.
And the only way you can really keep your farm clean is to pick through those weeds.
Right.
Right? And so all you're left with is that nice crop.
But I think there's a responsibility with these large agricultural companies to understand what they have to give.
They have a lot to give.
They have a lot to give. And it's not, and I want John Deere to realize, or Monsanto, or Trimble, or any of these, it doesn't take a lot to give. It's not taking away. You're going to gain in the long term.
Yeah.
You can't
more than money.
Yes, more than money, because everybody thinks of abundance as just money, and I don't want to get too, crazy with this, but there's more to abundance than just money. I mean, if you're a billionaire, if I say you can be a billionaire but you have 6 months to live, no one's going to pick that.
Why is Helsinki so freaking tiny, but they're the happiest place in the world?
Right.
How does that work? Their GDP is not even close to ours.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a disparity. Obviously, something is out of whack between the correlation of economic gain and real value of life.
But I mean, I'm not picking on these companies at all.
We're not picking on them.
I love them. But like John Deere, what if you came out with a global plan to help farmers and help humanity, to help this world, and you shared that with your employees, and then you let your employees, then they could use TARTLE to do this. You let your employees know specifically how each of them are helping the world. Now, how does that person feel when they're looking at that? How does that data scientist feel when he's looking at that data?
Feel how jazzed you'd be. It's been ethically sourced. I know that someone received such a great benefit from it, and now through my hard work, I can solve a problem and then come back to the world and be like, look at what we all did together.
Yes.
Why is that not just such an awesome winning formula? You can have monetary gain and altruistically elevate all of us.
Right.
It's not an impossible model. We've shown with TARTLE that model exists and it works.
You can still be the Wolf of Wall Street and do good.
Yeah.
You can have that polarity.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. And just, again, I want to hammer down that point. We're not bashing on these companies. We're just saying you have a wide availability of resources. Let's all just make sure that we channel our efforts and resources in the right direction.
Yes,
with the right knowledge.
Well, and then also we have a time crunch. And these agriculturals know this more than anyone.
Well, they're feeling it. They feel droughts.
Yes, they know
feel it
flooding.
Yeah.
All of that affects them.
All of it. Kills crops, kills yield. People can't feed. If you're looking at 70 years of climate change, me as John Deere, I want to know what else is affecting these things. It's not just what affects me directly as John Deere. What are the other things in this connected system that'll have indirect effects that are going to be very negative?
But if I'm an executive at Monsanto, John Deere, any of these places, and I have my grandson sitting on my lap, and I look at him, and I may be 65, 70, whatever, but I look at my great-grandson, my grandson, and I know there's 40 years left in the soil in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I want to leave him.
Yeah, do I want to leave him with just a world to burn behind me?
I want to leave him $10 million and no soil.
Yeah, what's he going to do with $10 million? Can't buy himself a spaceship, I'll tell you that. It's not enough.
It's more than profits. It's taking the opportunity to leave a legacy.
Oh, that's great. And I want to see every single one of these companies leave massive positive legacies.
Yes, they have the ability. That's the beautiful
And whether
part.
they succeed at doing it or fail, they were championing for something that really, really mattered for everyone.
Yeah, and if you're a company out there and you're listening to this and this is something that you want to partner with TARTLE, we would love to have a conversation with you. You can go to contact@tartle.co.
Or you can email podcast@tartle.co.
Yeah, either way, and we'll be more than happy to have someone get a hold of you, and we can work through this process, work with your data, and make sure that we have this opportunity for all of us together, collectively, globally, to solve these biggest issues, these problems.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep. Thank you, Alex.